Good evening, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to Cambodia Global Dialogue of Southeast Asia TV. Tonight, we have the pleasure to have a special guest who happened to be in town for the conference, the ASEAN Finance Minister Conference and the ASEAN Central Bank Governor Conference. And I have the pleasure to have with me Naoyuki Shinohara-san, who is the Deputy Managing Director of the IMF, and he's kind enough to stop by for a few minutes to share with us a bit his perspective on the fund and as well on the economic prospect in the region, in Cambodia and ASEAN, in the context of this year, Cambodia chairing the ASEAN. So, Shinohara-san, welcome to Cambodia Global Dialogue.
Thank you very much. It is my pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Let me formally say thank you for you taking this on quick notice to come. But you know, I always hate to introduce the guests because I don't want to mess up. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you very much. I was born in Japan. I studied economics at the University of Tokyo.
Yes.
And after that, I joined the government of Japan.
Yes.
And most of the time, I worked at Japanese Finance Ministry.
Yes.
And 2 years ago, I joined the International Monetary Fund,
Yes. Yes.
which is located in Washington, D.C. of the United States. And here I am now. During that time, I studied at the Princeton University.
Okay.
An
Ivy League school.
Yes. And at that time, I studied economics as well as public administration.
Yes.
And I spent about a year at Harvard
Yes.
as a visiting scholar.
Yes.
I lived in Manila for 3 years.
Is that right? With ADB? No?
Yes, with ADB as executive director.
Yes. Yes.
And that actually was a very, very interesting experience for me. It was the first time I lived in one of the Southeast Asian countries,
Okay.
and that gave me a lot of new, fresh experience.
Well, speaking about the region, you know, you've been with the Asian Development Bank. You have a very good grasp of what's happening in the region. You visit to attending this ASEAN Finance Minister meeting. What is the role of the IMF? Let me just start by in Cambodia first, and then we can look a bit the role of the IMF in the larger context of least developed country, you know, and how does the IMF assist in the context of to help them, you know, benefit from this globalized world?
What the IMF does is, in a sense, a little bit complicated.
Make it simple.
Not everybody understands fully what we are doing.
Yes.
But in case of Cambodia, for example,
Yes. That's it.
what we are doing, I think there are two things we are doing here. One is the policy dialogue
Okay.
and the policy advice.
Yes.
We have intensive communication with the Ministry of Economy and Finance here.
Okay.
We also have very intensive communication with the National Bank of Cambodia, for example. We discuss with them issues related to fiscal policy and monetary policy,
Okay.
and how to strengthen the tax administration, for example,
Yes.
or how to strengthen the supervision of the banking sector.
Okay.
in
Also
this,
with the central bank.
country. Yes.
Yes.
So those are the areas, some of the areas that we work together
Yes.
with the authorities here, and as necessary, we will provide policy advices
I see.
as to what are the areas they should place more focus on,
I see.
things like that.
Yes.
The other area that is important to us is for us to provide assistance in the area of capacity building.
Okay.
We call it technical assistance.
Okay.
But for example, in the area of statistics,
Yes.
in the area of banking supervision, in the area of tax collection, for example, we provide our expertise, our knowledge, we share them with the people in this country,
Yes.
so that they can take advantage
Yeah.
of our knowledge
Yeah.
and strengthen their capacity in dealing with those situations.
And how is Cambodia faring? How Cambodia is doing in that?
Well,
in your perspective. Yeah.
Well, I have been to this country many times in the past,
I see.
and I have seen many changes.
Yes.
The first time I came here was probably more than 10 years ago, and since that time the country has changed quite a lot, has improved
Yes, yes.
quite a lot.
Yeah.
And at the beginning it was not easy,
Yeah.
frankly speaking,
I see,
to
I see.
talk squarely
Hmm.
with the people in
Yes.
this country because of the huge gap
Yes. Yes.
that existed
Okay.
in the country. I think
Yes.
everybody knows
Yes.
this
Exactly.
very well.
Exactly.
These days our communication has been quite smooth,
Okay.
and lots of advancements were made in this country
Yeah. Yeah.
in order to cope with the issues
Yeah.
related to fiscal and monetary policies.
You mentioned quite gap. I mean, and to me, it's striking my mind the divide between the have, the not have, and what I'm trying to say here is more on the inclusive growth in terms of economic. Yes, we had growth, and as a matter of fact, we did have a very good track record of economic growth. But nowadays, we talk a lot about inclusive growth. You know, does the IMF have something to do with that?
Yes.
In terms of advising the policy for that?
Well, I mean, of course, the overall economic performance is very important.
Yes.
The growth is important,
Yeah.
but that is not enough.
Okay.
And you use the word inclusive growth.
Yes.
How to redistribute
Yes.
the
Exactly.
wealth
Exactly.
into various parts of the economy.
Yeah.
That is an important objective
Yes.
of the
Yes.
economic policy
Yes.
making. And for example, from our viewpoint,
Yes.
we make advices on how to allocate
Okay.
the budget expenditures,
Okay.
how to take care of the poor people,
Okay.
how to protect the damage that could be done by various policies on a poor section of the economy.
Like for example,
Well, I mean, for example, competition
competition.
among the
Okay.
industries.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
That is very important
Yeah.
in promoting the
Yes.
growth, but
Yeah.
that at the same time sometimes have negative impacts
I
on
see.
certain sections of
Yes.
the economy.
Yes.
And in that case, kind of a social safety net
Okay.
is necessary
Okay,
in order
okay.
to protect those people.
Yeah, yeah.
So how the government should prioritize
Yes.
those various
Yes.
conflicting
Yes.
objectives. That is very
Education,
important.
health, are these part of the investment the government should do to make it inclusive?
Definitely. The infrastructure,
Yes. Okay.
not only the
Infrastructure,
physical
You're right.
infrastructure, but
Yes.
soft infrastructure is
Such
an
as?
important part of the economic growth.
Okay.
So, as you say, Cambodian economy has experienced a very good track record,
Yes.
and I think in order to build up their capacity, in order to create room for
Yes.
further economic development,
Yes.
it is important that the level of education
I see. I
be
see.
improved, things like that.
Yeah,
Of course, IMF is not an institution specialized
Yes,
in
yes.
those areas.
But you do influence the policy making, the policy thinking.
Yes,
right?
we communicate
Yes.
with the authorities
Okay,
on on the priorities
Yes.
that they should place.
Yes. Yeah. Excellency, you're coming in a moment where Cambodia is so busy with the ASEAN work, ASEAN summit, and so many things happening in the country now. Does the IMF work with the ASEAN? ASEAN Secretariat, ASEAN context. Do you have relation at such a regional level?
Mainly our relationship is with the individual member countries.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
With each of the ASEAN countries,
Yes.
we have bilateral dialogues, bilateral consultations.
Okay.
But at the same time, at the regional level,
Yes.
we work with the ASEAN Secretariat, for
I
example,
see.
especially in the area of economic research
Yes.
and
surveillance? Do you have anything on surveillance?
Not on surveillance itself.
Okay.
I mean, regional surveillance has to be done by the
Yes.
regional body.
Ah,
So it is
okay.
not the IMF job
Yes.
to do
The
that.
ASEAN has one office like that in Singapore, my understanding, no?
It is
AMRO,
the
yes.
AMRO is the ASEAN plus 3
+3,
office,
yes.
and
Right.
ASEAN Secretariat
Yes.
in Jakarta also has its own kind of
Okay.
economic research
And they
office.
share each other.
Yes, I think
okay.
they are complementary
I see.
with each other,
Yeah.
and we are communicating with those offices. The IMF is the global
Yes.
mechanism,
Yes.
and there are regional mechanisms,
Yes,
and those
okay.
are complementary.
Yes.
So I'm sure that we can work together further.
Yes. You know, you mentioned the IMF as a global institution, the ASEAN as a regional institution. You know, ASEAN now is in the process to speed up its financial and economic integration, and in the context of the G20, there are many things happening also in terms of financial integration, the issue related to it, also financial inclusion, financial regulation, that sort of thing. What do, from the perspective of the IMF, what do you see the challenge facing ASEAN as a community in that track, along that track?
First of all, I should say that regional integration,
Yes.
economic integration
Yes.
in this area is a very important
Okay.
objective,
Yes.
and there are a lot that countries in this area
Yeah.
can learn
Yeah.
from the economic integration.
Yes.
I mean, by promoting the integration, they will rely less on external
Okay.
sources of
Yeah.
demand,
Yes.
and they can help with each other for stronger economic development.
Yes.
There are lots of regional integration efforts going
Yes.
on
Yes.
around the globe,
Okay.
and IMF is in a position to provide advice, provide technical works
Yes.
in order to promote
Yes.
those technical regional efforts for
regional
integration.
effort. Yeah, I see. I was a few months ago. I was in Los Cabos, Mexico, with the foreign minister to attend the G20 informal foreign minister, and a very good flow of discussion. It's a lot of experience, a lot of so like what can we learn from the European, debt crisis, sovereign risk issue there. Anything you can partake, you can share with us in that context, the lesson learned, from the European debt crisis, for example. What went wrong, and how can ASEAN not make the same mistake?
I guess what happened in Europe
Yes,
is a very complicated one,
yes,
and I think the original intention was to pursue the political
yes,
union
yes.
in Europe, and they are in the middle of achieving the goal. So all the foundations for economic integration is not established yet.
Yes.
They are still in the middle,
Yes.
and at that stage the crisis came in. So fiscal integration is in the middle, monetary integration is in the middle.
Okay.
So there are some problems in the framework
Yes.
that showed up
Yes.
during the process.
Okay.
But that should not mean
Yes.
that the efforts for further integration
I see.
is not necessary.
Yes.
I think it is an important attempt.
Yeah.
Of course, whatever the framework you make,
Yes.
it has some problems.
Yes. Any framework.
Any
anyway,
framework, yes.
You have
so
to
the same
fine-tune
applies to regional
Yes.
framework that
Okay.
you are trying to build
Okay.
in this area
Yes.
as well.
Yes.
It has not reached the stage of monetary
Yes.
integration.
Yes.
It is still at an earlier stage.
Okay.
But you have to reconcile the differences
Yes.
among countries
Yes,
in various areas, including in trade
Yes.
and financial market
Yes.
regulations and things like
Yes.
that. So it's trial and error
Try and error. All right.
approach.
That's
so-
a history of humankind.
Exactly. So we shouldn't be we shouldn't feel pressured
Yes.
by those differences
Yes.
or difficulties.
Yes.
So toward the final goal,
Yes.
all the countries involved should
Yes.
make efforts.
But there are lessons learned. Can you give us a few lessons?
Well, I mean, the situation in Europe and the situation here
Yes.
in ASEAN region are quite different.
Ah, okay.
So it is not easy
Yes.
to
Compare. Yes, yes.
those two regions.
Yes.
But I think what is important is that if you are really looking for a full type of integration,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have a very strong political will
Yes, yes.
to achieve that.
Yes.
If you just pursue economic interests,
Okay.
that might fail.
Yes.
You have seen in Europe that there are lots of struggles
Yes.
within governments,
Yes.
among governments,
Yes,
on
yes.
how to proceed,
Yes.
and various interests are fighting against
Yes.
each other,
Okay.
and we do not still feel the strong political will,
Yes.
integrated
I
will
see. I see.
to solve the
Yes.
problem. Especially what I'm talking about is the issue of fiscal union.
I see.
And there is no so-called burden sharing mechanism
I see.
among countries.
Okay.
No mechanism to transfer income from richer countries
Yes.
in the union to poorer countries in the region. Richer countries do not want to spend money for
Yes.
poorer countries,
Okay,
although
okay.
they are in the same group.
Yes, yes.
So in a sense that shows the lack of strong political will to create
Yes.
a common region.
Yes.
So that can be applied to this region as well.
Yes, yes.
I mean, just looking for economic benefits
Mhm.
coming out of the integration
Yes.
might fail,
Yeah.
because depending on issues, there will be conflicts of interests
Yes. Okay.
among countries.
Okay.
Unless you have a very strong political will
Yeah.
for full integration,
Hmm.
you will have certain
Yeah.
difficulties.
Shinohara-san, you mentioned in passing one word which affect me or touch me, because I'm more a trade person.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned trade for that matter. The I think ASEAN economy, we're doing well because we have a good growth, but our growth is also very much dependent on the well-to-do of the European market, the US market. What is the and I feel in fact that the gloomy situation in these two major markets may affect the growth prospect of ASEAN also. What's your take on the next couple of year situation trade wise, economic wise?
Our expectation is that Europe would continue to grow very, very slowly
Okay.
for the time being.
Okay.
We are expecting Europe to have a mild recession this
Okay.
year,
Yeah.
a little bit negative growth
Mhm,
this year. Come next year, I think they will have a positive increase,
Okay.
but it will continue to be a very slow,
Yes.
modest
Yes.
growth.
Okay.
In the United States, the situation is a little bit better than Europe,
Yeah.
but we are not expecting high growth that they had in the past.
Yes.
So that means the demand coming from those traditional
Yes.
export market
Yes.
should not be expected.
Yes. Okay.
So you have to rely more on intra-regional
Intra-regional.
trade.
Yes. Yes.
You have to rely more on a domestic demand increase within the region.
Mhm.
So in that sense as well, efforts for trade integration
Yes.
would give a very good base
Yes.
for further development
Mm.
for the countries in the region.
The region is ASEAN centrality is something that I really sort of enjoy, but sometimes it's so difficult to grasp because we have ASEAN plus 1, ASEAN plus 3, ASEAN plus Japan. There's so many free trade agreement that ASEAN is doing with. So you think that this free trade arrangement with all the big superpower, economic superpower of the region will help sustain the at least the growth of ASEAN?
ASEAN is located at the center
Yes.
of those forces.
Yes.
You talk about the big powers like
Yes.
the US, Europe, China,
Yes.
Japan, India, things like that.
Yeah.
But strategically speaking,
Yes.
ASEAN is located in the best place.
Yes.
So whenever we talk about the free trade
Mhm.
zone, whatever
Yes.
it is, we cannot talk about that without the presence of ASEAN.
Yes.
So in that sense, ASEAN is in a very good place to promote
Yes.
the integration,
Yes.
economic integration with
Yeah.
other regions.
Okay.
They cannot ignore
Yeah.
your voice.
Yes.
So that is something that ASEAN countries should
Yes.
keep in mind.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. One last question. The G20 priority now, at least the Mexican presidency, have one thing that I have not seen be in a previous G20, which is a strong focus on financial inclusion. The role of providing more finance to the SME as a source of growth. You think it's possible that you can reach out to such a sort of like micro level?
Well, I think we should.
Yes.
I mean, I had opportunity. I was given a chance to visit Udon
Yes. Yes.
yesterday,
Oh.
and I saw small shops.
Yes.
And there was a sewing machine,
Yes.
and the lady was sewing
All right.
clothes,
All right.
and she had to buy a sewing machine.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly how much
Yes,
it was,
yes,
but
yes.
certainly she needed money.
Yes. Yes.
If there is a mechanism to provide
Yes.
certain amount of money to buy a
Yes.
sewing machine,
Yes.
that would help a lot. So that is the microfinance, right?
I'm great. I'm happy to hear that. We're running out of time. As always, I hate that because we just get started and then 30 minutes almost over. What is your last word, your message to the Cambodian audience?
I guess I have been visiting this country for more than 10 years.
Yes.
And I have seen a lot of progress
Yes.
in this country. And I'm very glad to see the changes that I have witnessed over the 10 years.
Yes.
You started from scratch, in a sense.
Yes.
But the recent developments are remarkable. And I'm sure that people in Cambodia would continue to pursue
Yes.
the course.
Yes.
I'm very confident about it.
Shinohara-san, thank you so much on behalf of the audience and the studio for you to come and share a few of your idea, your perspective from somebody who know Cambodia for over 10 years. It's important that we got some frank assessment from there, and I think your assessment is quite upbeat. And as a Cambodian myself, I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy about this lady that gonna have access to finance to perhaps buy more than one sewing machine, buy two for her daughter also.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
So anyway, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to the end of the program, and you had a glimpse. I say a glimpse because it really 30 minutes to talk an issue of finance, integration, that sort of thing. It's not doing justice, but at least we have a good sort of like overview on what's happening in the region, how the region is faring in the world, the prospect, as relating to other economy. And I must say that we should be happy to be in a region that is dynamic, that is trade driven, and that is moving toward a community, which is the ASEAN community. And hopefully in 2015 we would achieve that dream, and also with the thanks of a development partner of a financial institution like the IMF who could come and contribute. So on that note, Shinohara-san, once again, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes.